he said, "In a certain city there was a judge who neither feared God nor had respect for people. In that city there was a widow who kept coming to him and saying, 'Grant me justice against my opponent.' For a while he refused, but later he said to himself, 'Though I have no fear of God and no respect for anyone, yet because this widow keeps bothering me, I will grant her justice, so that she may not wear me out by continually coming.' And the Lord said, 'Listen to what the unjust judge says. And will not God grant justice to his chosen ones who cry to him day and night? Will he delay long in helping them? I tell you, he will quickly grant justice to them. And yet, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth?'" The Gospel of our Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
You may be seated. Did you hear the news story recently? It was all over the place. A story about a little girl who asked for something that no one expected she would get, but did. Vivian Lord's mother, Brittany, said that this summer her daughter was on vacation and bought and played with a group of green Army men figurines. You know the ones I mean. If you've never owned them, you've probably stepped on one or two of them in your life. Why no women? Vivian wanted to know. She asked her mother to do an internet search to look for women soldiers. They found soldiers in pink, but they were men in pink, her mother told a morning news show. Vivian talked about the lack of female Army soldiers for days, until her mother encouraged her to write to the toy companies. "Ask and you shall receive" might be going through your mind right now. But that isn't really how things work, right? Is it? "My name is Vivian. I am 6 years old. Why do you not make girl Army men?" she wrote to toy companies. "My friend's mom is in the Army too, so why don't we make them?" A just request, we might agree. This sexist world was meeting its match in Vivian, who spoke up with confidence in her own abilities and desires. Now, the company which makes the iconic green Army men figurines finally answered. The president and only employee of the North Pennsylvania Company told news sources that making the figurines will be expensive, but that Vivian's letter touched them and told her bigger story about satisfying childhood longing for a toy. "Some girls don't like pink, so please, can you make Army girls that look like women?" Vivian wrote in her letter. "I would play with them every day, and my friends would too. Ask and you shall receive." Or, as the gospel says today, just keep asking until they give up and give you what you want. That works too. The plastic Army women line is now in the design stage and will include 4 different poses in a pack of 24 figurines. The new toys are expected to be available for Vivian and like-minded friends by next Christmas. To our surprise, the ask might be the most important part of getting the results that we are seeking. Simply letting others know, including God, what you need or what you think is just, by simply standing up for what you believe and trying to do something about it, we learned today definitely can produce results. When one little girl stood up for justice and begged for something to happen with the Army toys, requesting the addition of Army women to a toy line to better represent the reality of modern military, the news lines in bold print all read, "It's happening." To everyone's surprise, it's happening. It's easy to get cynical in this world, wondering if one person's voice or one person's effort could ever make a big enough difference. But as we clearly see with this story, it happens, and it's happening, all over the place, all the time. The good news for Vivian is a victory call for all women everywhere. One person standing up and getting the response that she paid for, prayed for, beyond hope. I doubt anyone ever believed this simple child's letter could make a difference, but it did. And while this is a worldly story, we see here in our gospel reading today that our relationship with God is not so different. We might wonder if our simple, small prayers can ever make a difference. Prayers not so different from a crayon letter asking God for something we feel we or the world needs. You see, in today's gospel, Jesus tells a parable of a hateful judge who is worn down by a widower's plea. Jesus is calling on God's people to cry out for justice, not so different from Vivian's actions, simply pleading for justice in a world that didn't know that it got it so wrong. Jesus uses this parable or story to point out that if an unethical judge will ultimately grant the plea of a persistent widow, how much more will God respond to those who call? We know that God is more than an unethical judge. We know that God is more than a toy maker of plastic army figurines. And yet, with these two real-world examples, we see the ask really matters. God and others out there really do want to answer and help the needs of the world. Shoot, you might even be one of them, I hope. And sure, it might take some pestering, as prayer usually seems to do. It seems to take longer than we might want. I mean, next Christmas is a long time to wait for anything. But the good news for us here is that we are heard. Indeed, when we search our souls for what is right and call out for justice, we are reminded by Jesus today that these calls are heard, even if it takes longer than we want for tangible results. As Martin Luther King Jr. once put it so well, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. It's happening. Justice is unfolding, and as we see today, it is God's will that all justice be done through the people on the face of this earth and with the faces even beyond this earth. Justice is where we are headed. It is our end goal. There is a time in all of our futures that God's will actually be done. And yes, it seems like we might have our part in this. The ask, at least, comes from our need. But we ask, what's happening to Jesus, according to Jesus? Our God takes delight in answering us. But so too, that doesn't mean putting that request out there once or once in a while. We need to step up, be brave, and write that crayon letter. Pull at the heartstrings of God. Be persistent. Jesus tells us that this effort pays off. We see that here today, I hope. God, and yes, even other people, are just waiting to be ready. Ready to be asked. Ready with a smile and a heart filled with joy to say yes. Ready to equip us with everything we need. For everything our souls truly and justly desire. God does not force God's self on us, and yet when we ask, we receive. This message is repeated multiple times in the Bible. Jesus, God's self, takes a wonderful joy in responding to our cries and sharing with us the justice that we seek, whether we have said it out loud yet or not. For God seeks justice too, we know. For some reason, beyond me, God respects human beings so much that God actually became one in Jesus Christ. And God does not force God's will onto us, like we force our will into God sometimes. Jesus, as we see with so many of the miracle healings, even asks people if they want to be healed before he heals them. Once the need is expressed, God answers. Just give God the ask. Maybe a lot of times works even better, the gospel says, but just give the ask and be ready for God's answer. It's coming when it's supposed to, in the ways that it's supposed to. It's happening. Jesus promised us this today. Justice will roll down like water. This is what God desires for us too. Ask, and it shall be given to you. From army women toys to the end of suffering for all. It's God's delight that when we ask, we receive. And so, never stop asking. This world and God surprises us in some pretty awesome ways sometimes. There is joy and justice being served on God's part and ours. God is eager to equip us, to share with us all of God's self, everything. Jesus Christ, God's only Son, given to us for salvation, is the proof of this. Many who hold strong and know that justice will be done. As a matter of fact, somehow already it's happening. And we get glimpses of it every once in a while, like with Vivian and her new toys. Amen.